Cap or fact, eating healthy, working out means you're well.
Good question. Before we get into that,
I'm Malcolm.
I'm Shy.
Welcome to episode 2, where there's no perfect people.
Just better moves. Let's make one a day.
Let's make one a day. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Happy Sunday today, right?
Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Nice and sunshiny where I am. So nice day. But before we kind of get into that question, how you doing today?
Hey, well, we're getting out of the habit of saying I'm good off rip and just taking the default standard statements. And I tell you, I'm doing better and better each day, man. I'm grateful for the opportunity to make some better moves, do some things differently, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to have conversations like this, man. There's challenges, as there always are in life, but I'm taking them in stride better and better, especially because of the types of conversations we're having, man. How about you?
Well, listen, man, I immediately, my brain went to say I'm good, so I'm glad I stopped myself there. I've got into the habit of gratitude on a daily, so grateful to have electricity and to be able to hop on, and have these conversations. I'm excited today. One, because I'm feeling better. Last week, something had me in a chokehold, so I'm excited that I'm feeling better. But I also get to see my kid on the soccer field today. So those are always great weekends for me. So grateful, excited. I'm humble that I get this opportunity to have these conversations and hopefully be impactful moving forward. So
absolutely, man. Well, happy to hear that, man, and best to your son today. I know you guys are gonna come back with a win. Can't wait to hear about that win next week, the next time we speak.
Yes, sir.
So what we getting into today?
Let's talk about cap or fact. Is it true? Is it false that eating healthy, working out means you're well?
I think a lot of us believe that and take that, especially if you get a clean bill of health from the doctor and you go get your checkup and the doctor says you're good. A lot of people take that and say, all right, I'm straight. But I think we take for granted the other areas in life that we just kind of learn to operate in, but may not realize that there's something else happening there that could come back to bite us later on, because we're not really taking care of ourselves in all the different ways that we could or should be taking care of ourselves to make sure that we're balanced and truly well and healthy people. What are your thoughts?
Now, you said a word, and I be fighting this word because I use it too, and that word is balance. I think balance is like perfect, right? So I think it is something that you cannot necessarily achieve. You can try to achieve it. Harmony, I like using that word.
Okay.
Now, obviously, I believe that just because one eats well and works out, they may be physically well. That is true. But there are a lot of other factors that they could be ignoring because they're putting so much emphasis on just one aspect of their wellness. And that is where harmony in those other areas of life come in. And we get an opportunity today to kind of talk about or define those areas which actually brought this whole thing together in the first place.
Truth. And I will say one thing: harmony. I love the word harmony, especially because that speaks to music, and that's where my heart is, man. Music is, if it weren't for music, we never would have met, for example. But I'll say
I don't know about that, because when we met, it was not, we met on mental health and then bonded more so with the fusion of music and mental health.
Well, the reason I say that is it was me doing music that helped me meet the brothers that I was doing music with, that I then started podcasting with, because
Ah,
I wanted to use music as my launch pad to talk about mental health, or my place to connect. I wanted to talk to the hip hop community specifically about mental health, because I saw these conversations were things that we weren't having. So we had a synergy there.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I think if we had met under other circumstances, we still would have connected, because I think there's a vibe there. But on on the topic of harmony and balance, though, when I look at balance, though, I don't look at balance as something that you get and maintain. It's like riding a bike. You have to have balance to ride a bike, but you're not. If you're sitting still on that bike, you're not balanced. Most people that can't maintain their balance just sitting still on the bike. There's movement. There's motion. There's give and play. When it comes to it. So it's a constant, something that you have to maintain through constant effort. And there's never going to be a point where everything is equal, I don't think, when it comes to balance in terms of mindset and health. But I love harmony because, again, it speaks to my heart and what drives me many days. This music is one of my biggest motivators.
So, and I don't say I never, but what you just said, I didn't think about it in that way. When you think of balance, right? Even when you use the riding a bike analogy, you're still technically you're in imbalance, but you're imbalanced in concert with one another. Like you are moving in a way that to compensate for where you are in that moment.
Yeah.
So
Constantly shifting weight.
although constantly shifting weight to maintain this, I don't want to say illusion, but to maintain this
There might be a right word.
of balance. But while you're doing that, you're literally in imbalance for periods of time.
Yeah. The whole time you're doing it, you're basically maintaining a state of imbalance in some sense. I don't know. That
Yeah,
is probably going a little deep with that.
yeah. We might go in I ain't in science class, but there's something going on there where that that
Absolutely.
that weight shifts back and forth to support the energy that you're trying to produce.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Interesting stuff. But back to your thing, that the thing that brought us together. I mean, after our first conversation, you introduced me to the concept that kind of led us here today through our first conversation. We met because we were both focused on the topic of mental health at the time, which is kind of an overused term, or a term that's been kind of commodified nowadays. And I don't think people place as much value on it as we did when we first met. But through our conversation, we realized that mental health is one component of 8 dimensions of wellness, or 8 different areas where you can bring yourself to harmony, peace, imbalance. I don't know what the word is now there, but that's what today's focus is on getting us into discussing what these 8 different areas are that can really contribute to you being a holistically well person. And not that you'll ever be perfect in those areas, but if you're mindful in all of these different areas, you have a much better chance of being at peace, being a happy, healthy, or well person. Is that sum it up pretty well for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was introduced to the concept. It was during COVID. Um, and I was asked to speak to individuals who were reentering society from incarceration and or from drug and alcohol addiction. So I was asked to create a course for these individuals upon reentering into society. And the one caveat to the course from the organization that I was working with was that I had to incorporate the 8 dimensions of wellness.
Oh wow, I didn't know this backstory.
And when they presented it to me, it was a foreign topic to me. But in the creation of this course, I started to look at studies and things of that nature. One that I kind of gravitated to was from the University of Illinois, Chicago.
Okay.
And and originally it was utilized just for mental health services and addiction. It was kind of like a framework in that service as individuals were going through kind of their therapeutic methods of bettering themselves after incarceration or something going on mentally or with substance abuse. But as I was presenting this course to these individuals, I came to that realization, or to the realization of, this isn't just about reentering from incarceration, or this isn't just about substance abuse, or just about mental health. This is about each individual on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. Like this concept of being well and having harmony in different areas and how these areas affect one another is not just for quote unquote individuals who are going through something at the time. This is something that we all need to be more cognizant of.
Right.
So that's kind of where I fell in love with that idea of those 8 dimensions of wellness. And I mean, we had a discussion about it early on when we after we met, and today we want to share kind of what those 8 dimensions are, and kind of talk through them a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Now I can break down the 8, bring at least list the 8, and then maybe we just take a moment to go into a brief summary of each one, or do you want to do the list the dimension and a brief summary, or do you want to go through and just list all 8 of them and then maybe hold off until we do all of our other episodes to really get into them? How do you want to approach this?
I think we can list 8, give a brief summary of what it is, because we're certainly will go into them more in depth later on. But I think what would be helpful is if we kind of shared, as we're going through them, something about that particular area, whether it's a area of strength or an area that we figure we may need improvement on. But as we go, we can kind of define what that area is, and maybe have a little bit of commentary about that particular area, because I think there's a lot of misconception when it comes to some of these areas. Like, we think about it in maybe a silo, where that area can actually be a little bit of a wider funnel that we are maybe not aware of.
Excellent point. Okay, well, ready to run into it?
Let's run it.
Let's run. All right, well, these are in no particular order because there's no order for this, right? But the first one that's on my list right now is financial wellness. And that's funny because you being a financial advisor by trade, and yeah, it just speaks a lot. Do you want to speak first about this topic?
Yeah. So it's funny. Yes. So by trade, I'm a financial advisor, and the one thing that I hear all the time, when I ask about goals, and the goal is to be rich or to be wealthy or whatever the case may be. But when I think about financial wellness, it really is about managing the resources that you have effectively.
Uh-huh.
We become enamored with a number or a lifestyle or whatever the case may be, and finances can cause stress when and that can bleed into all kinds of other things. So when I think about financial wellness from an advisor standpoint, is it's simply managing your resources that you currently have effectively. That doesn't mean that you can't increase those resources or work to increase those resources, or as we say, level up. But it's really about managing what you have within your means, so you don't have the stress.
Yeah. Yeah. And I could say from my standpoint, managing them and managing it well is definitely an area where I've realized when I don't, or because I haven't managed it well in the past. I've been fortunate enough to amass finances at different points in my life, and to have an abundance on the financial side at different points in my life because of other decisions I made. But I also, when other things were falling apart, I realized that I didn't have a system for managing finance and managing myself with finance, and I've learned that I wasn't financially well, although I may have been well off at one point in time. So exploring this dimension is definitely going to be one I'm looking forward to in depth, and maybe developing some systems so I can learn how to better manage. I'm in the process of doing that right now, but I'd love to do it with some support and accountability, because that's where I believe the growth is going to come from.
Yeah. And it's the hard part. So I got to be quiet because I can talk about this part like for hours. I'm just going to shut up right now. I'm just going.
That's funny. But in the meantime, if you do want to check out what Malcolm does on the financial side, you want to at least let them know where they can find you, because you're doing an interesting series on finance that people may want to tap into early and get familiar with before they, we get into these other dimensions, because you're doing something that's really helpful for people on a weekly basis right now.
Yeah. So I have a weekly series on TikTok and Instagram at Health, Wealth,
And YouTube
Hip Hop. And YouTube. I'm sorry, and YouTube. At Health, Wealth, and Hip Hop on all platforms, where the weekly series giving tidbits about financial literacy, financial fluency. And it's taking it from the ground level. So it's talking to someone who may not have any experience with finance, and moving through more complex strategies as the weeks go on. So each Monday evening, one of those is shared to those social media sites: YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Health, Wealth, and Hip Hop.
Yeah, and you want to check it out, man, because it's got, on top of the fact that it's a quick, short, sweet lesson that's really compelling and visually interesting, he gives you one move to take for each week that you can actually execute, so that you can not just be watching, but you can actually be taking some action to improve your financial wellness week by week. So appreciate you for that resource, man. It means a lot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Our next dimension is physical wellness, which kind of spins back on our cap effect.
No perfect people, just better moves.